Okay. Sean, lovely to see you again. Haven't seen you for a long time, actually.
It's been a while, Jeff. It's been a while.
I think it's probably one of the dive shows which probably don't exist anymore.
No, fingers crossed, they will come back. But it's an interesting subject to start on because I think the industry is crying out for them to amalgamate in some way, which we know is a big ask. But it's such a fragmented industry as it is. It would be lovely to try and get us all under one roof. But it's a tough question, and only the guys who organise the shows can answer that.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, even before COVID, the attendance seemed to be dropping quite markedly, and now with COVID, of course, it's non-existent.
Yeah. We've always had a great time at the shows, mainly the ones that Diver ran. But you're right, they were beginning to dwindle as time went on, and we've sort of like mentioned our concerns to Diver over the years to try and reinvent a few things. And obviously the guys at Scuba Diver were trying to have a go and reinvent the show, and they were doing a fairly good job. But again, and it's difficult, and we don't want to be hypocrites here because it's like somebody asking us to get into bed with another dry suit manufacturer. But the industry's crying out for some kind of cohesion, and if the guys that organise the show could get together and pull it all under one roof, one show, one message, from a manufacturer and an exhibitor's point of view, it would be absolutely awesome because you're taking away a huge amount of the risk.
Yeah, yes, of course. Well, let's hope we have a brighter future in the next year and so on.
Yeah.
You're actually based in Portland?
Yeah, beautiful Dorset. Looking out the window now, looking at Chesil Beach.
Oh, fantastic.
We're very, very lucky.
How are you managing with the COVID issue down there? Are you remaining open?
No, as with the government guidelines, we tie in our openings with what the government's saying at the moment, where the shop is closed. Having said that, the phones are being answered. The workshop is still functioning with, adhering to all the guidelines that all of us are so aware of at the moment. But we were able to open the shop back in last summer, carefully. But, to be honest, we've been very, very lucky, very fortunate. We haven't been kicked where it hurts from a business point of view at this moment in time. So fingers crossed 2021 will be the same.
Yeah, indeed. Tell me, OThree, how did it come about, and why OThree? It's quite an interesting name, really.
It's a long story. I used to work for, and some older people out there will remember these people, the Parry's Dive Shop Subaquatics, which Ron and Joy Parry started in the late 50s. They had a shop in Weymouth and opened a shop on Portland as well, and they were running the two at one time. And luckily, I wasn't great at school. I was okay on the practical side of things, but they took me under their wing, and I learned to, pump air. They had two massive William and James's compressors, 35 cubic foot per minute. They used to blast almost 8-10 hours a day back in the heyday of diving. So I learned how to put suits together with those guys. Kevin and Ian took the business on after Ron and Joy took a step backwards. But what they've given me is that fantastic link into the past of, teaching people to dive in Portland Harbour back in the mid 50s when it was all really in its infancy. And, back then the manufacturing was all used with British Neoprene. Sadly, they're all gone now. So I think I was with them for 5 or 6 years, decided to go traveling, came back, said to a bunch of mates I was going to go into double glazing. They all said to me, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You've got to start sticking suits together again. So although I knew many of the aspects, there were several aspects I didn't know, but I got my head down, started OThree, and the name come from my father-in-law. I wanted a name that was didn't really mean anything. All the otter, a lot of the names have been done. But back at the time, we were all very conscious of ozone. That was coming as we are now, but ozone was very much the buzzword. And that was a name that stuck with me, but it didn't quite fit, didn't feel comfortable with it. And my father-in-law said, what about OThree? I didn't have a clue. He said, that's a chemical sign for ozone. So there you go, it stuck.
Yeah, well, it's a good name. It's a very definite name. It's not one you forget, that's for sure.
Yeah,
and I guess materials for suits and everything else has changed drastically since the early days.
Yeah, again, stories that Ron and Joy used to tell. They used to buy their neoprene from Australia. They used to laminate it with nylons from Woolworths with Evo stick. The place used to stink to high heaven. But all those days are gone now, and sadly, the 2 or 3 British neoprene manufacturers we had, they've all gone, and it is very much dominated by the guys in Asia. The money that they invest in neoprene, and they're cleaning their act up as well. There's much less use of chloroprene now, and the solvents they use are really, really getting pushed out. And I would have probably in the next 18 months, 2 years, solvent-based lamination will be a thing of the past. So, and neoprene quality and consistency has moved on in leaps and bounds.
So on that sort of vein, do you address conservation, sustainability, recycling?
It's yes, we do. We do what we can as a company, but when the raw product up until probably 2 years ago was what it was, you've got to make do, and it's still a very it's an interesting subject because we're very mindful with these new technologies that they're using to stop the use of ozone damaging gases and all the rest of it. We've still got to make sure the product's going to last. Divers, the best will in the world, they do want at least 10 years out of a dry suit. If these new neoprenes are not lasting anywhere near that, is it a false economy? Is that going to add more damage and destruction by making 2 or 3 suits in that 10 years when we've got dry suits out there that are over 20 years old still being dived today? So the carbon footprint, the damage that suit had on the planet, arguably you'd say is less damaging than a suit that's only going to last 3 or 4 years. But time will tell. Fingers crossed, these new neoprenes, these new processes will stand the test of time, and we'll all be better for it.
Yeah, indeed. Good point. Good point. I'm just looking at your website. I have to say it's very stylish. It's lovely, and I'm just looking at the dry suit page, and you've got the lovely waving seaweed behind the images and everything. It stands out really well. Do you get into the design of your products and suits?
We've got a guy who I've worked with for years, and thankfully several years ago he agreed to come on with us. Not full time, but nearly. He has other things he gets up to, and we work very closely together. We're very, although we are outward looking, we're still very aware that we are a British company. The bulk of our sales come from the UK, and we love the blue water diving, but we wanted to make sure that the website reflected British diving where we could. That's top of our priorities on the website.
Do you have outlets throughout the rest of the world, or is it solely here in the UK?
To be honest, in recent years, we were making progress in that area, but always a dilemma now how much of detail to go into. We have stepped back from third-party suppliers, shall we say, and being as diplomatic as I can. We were always a manufacturer that sold direct, and selling to third parties came a little bit later. Some of the guys did a good job. Some of the guys didn't do a good job, to be fair. But us as a company were always still adamant that we should support our customers no matter where they come from. And cut a long story short, to do that to the best of our ability, we've brought much of it back in-house. Definitely within the UK, we've got Chris and Polly over at Crystal Seas on the East Coast, over in Anglia. They do a brilliant job for us, as do Bristol Channel Diving Services. And we keep it fairly tight. We're working more on referral basis now. So people who are movers and shakers, influencers, the word now, we try and get involved with those guys, and we'd rather sell less suits and sell them properly than sell more suits and sell them badly. And overseas, again, we're looking for influencers. Josh, who works with us, he's been with us like 13 years. He's got involved with a guy in the US who, I think, my numbers might be wrong, but he had something like a couple of thousand viewers on his Instagram and social media. Now he's up to like 200,000 in just 12 months, and he's doing a great job for us.
Wow.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah, that is. Again, looking at your site, I see there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of celebrities who are wearing OThree, which is quite an achievement. It's really nice. What's the secret bit? Well, don't give me your secrets, but is that branding? Is that quality? Is that PR? I mean, how do you get so many people to support your suits?
I mean, again, we've got to give credit where credit's due. A guy called Richard Bully, hiya Bully, if you're watching this at some point. He's very well known in the industry. He's retired now. But again, back in the day, even before OThree was created, which is we're coming into our 32nd year now, he was a customer of the Parrys, very much involved with underwater photography and videography and filming. And I'm not sure whether it was in those days, but very soon after, he became a safety expert for the BBC, amongst other film companies. And he used to give us a nod and say, oh, so-and-so's happening, this is happening. Yet some of those suits are product placements, you know, there's no money exchanged hands, but a vast majority of them, there is a budget there. And because of Bully, he's put us at the forefront, shall we say, when people start to decide which suits they should get into. But in more recent years, well, say the last 15, 16 years, because we've had a good in off the back of Bully, a lot of companies, a lot of film companies will ring us up anyway and say, you know, we're doing this, we're doing that. And it's been one of the best things we've ever done, to be honest.
Yeah, it shows. I mean, it's the OThree name comes up all the time when I watch presenters in their suits. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
And I see you do a free home fitting service. I mean, how does that work?
Well, again, we've always done it. We've done it, not quite as in the numbers that we're doing it now, obviously, more relevant now than ever because of COVID and the shop being closed and people not being able to travel. But basically, it's built into the price on most of our suits, and we'll ship a suit to them, to people, maybe 2 suits if they're an odd size, and try and recreate what we do in the shop in their own home. Talk through first of all, talk through how to get the suit on, see how the fit is, talk through any adjustments that might be needed. The suit comes back to us, we carry out those adjustments and then send it back to them, and that's all included in the price of the suit.
That is amazing. So you pay for the suit to go both ways.
Yes, through 3 ways essentially, up there, back to us, and up to the customer again. And within the United Kingdom, you know, mainland, that's been working brilliantly.
Excellent.
We've even, sorry to interrupt,
Sorry,
Jeff,
no, go ahead.
we're even doing it, we've got really getting a good little foothold, little niches in the US now, and we've shipped many suits over there. People see the value in it. They're paying a little bit more of a premium to get the suits shipped over there, but it saves so much hassle just to make sure. Some of these guys are underwater for a long time in some pretty cold, harsh environments, and if something's not quite right, it's going to irk them. So it's worth that little bit extra, and so it's been quite successful overseas as well.
Yeah, indeed. You dive yourself, I assume.
Yeah, again, a little bit like you, not doing as much as I should be doing now. Things take over, but should be skiing this week actually. But, but yeah, still just keeping my hand in, and Marcus, my business partner, keeps giving me a poke because he's more actively diving than I am. But who knows? 2021, I might break double figures again in number of dives, not depths of water.
Yeah. I just can't wait to get back in properly. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
OThree, what else do you produce other than suits?
That's a good question. Something I used to lose sleep over many, many years ago, but a good friend of mine years and years ago said, focus on what you do best. So it is suits, neoprene accessories. We make base layers. We have some nice little bits and pieces that we do utilizing neoprene and what we know about neoprene for, I'm not going to divulge, but very interesting little quirky things that we do in the background, which are adds nicely to the bottom line, shall we say. But generally, dry suits, wetsuits, neoprene accessories, that's what we do. That's what we're known for.
Yeah, indeed. Sean, thank you for taking time to talk. It's been brilliant listening to you. Fingers crossed that you can open up again this year.
Yeah,
nothing's for sure.
I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. Like I said, we know how tough it is out there at the moment. Diving industry's not at a great time. We've been very lucky, and COVID has not affected us as badly as we know it has as some companies, and we're optimistic.
Excellent. Sean, once again, thank you, and hopefully we'll meet up sometime soon.
Cheers, Jeff. Take care. Nice to talk to you.
You too. Bye now.
Cheers.